So Laurence actually made it back up the freeway from Sydney today as well to join us. Thank you very much. I had a heart attack when he said, I'm actually in Sydney for a meeting on Tuesday. Oh, what day is it? Thursday. So you've had a very long and different, multifaceted career in the creative industries.
I'll say it now, compared to our other two speakers, I'm going to be the biggest fucking sellout you've ever met.
Okay, so tell us about the sellout, Laurence. There you go.
So, I blame my mum.
Who's not here?
Who's not here? No, she's not here. No. I blame her for everything. So, when I was 4, my mum heard me copy Scotland the Brave on the piano that we had in our house and immediately thought I was a prodigy, and so took me off to be taught music. If I, maybe later that afternoon, had been riding a billy cart round the yard, I might be talking at a Formula 1 thing tonight. So that was my mum. My sister ended up being a ballet dancer for the Bluebells in Paris because she skipped down the hall. So...
Sorry, you are very talented on the keyboard. I have experienced that firsthand. He is very clever on the keyboard. So his mother did know what she was talking about.
So my mum, I think as well, as the other influence, and then I'll leave the whole Freudian thing behind, was very much that if I came home and had won the Nobel Prize, my mum would probably go, that's fine, but have a backup. So that was kind of really drummed into me from an early age. So did piano with the most wonderful teacher, not with us now, a lady called Joyce Blewett, who used to live in Hamilton, who stayed with me through my entire musical training. And I was on track to be a concert pianist. That's what was laid out for me, and ended up playing with the ABC when I was still at school. And my two best friends left school in year 10 to go and do apprenticeships, and so they had cars and money, and we used to actually, we used to come here, and Tony Johns used to play somewhere in the corner here, and I was still at school, over there, yeah. And they used to have to buy me drinks, and then I used to have to kind of sit in their car on the way home and blah, blah, blah. And I'd just been playing and studying and a job came up at NBN Television where one of them worked, and I took it. Shattered my parents, absolutely. They couldn't believe it that I did, and I don't, to this day, don't know why I actually went and did that. But started off as a tape operator, and I have been with that company ever since that first day. I'm now the head of creative and the head of digital integration for them. Or the new term this month is a creative technologist.
I like the fact that the word creative's in there.
Be something else next month, but that's what they call them all now.
You better just explain what that means.
So I work with a lot of clients. I work with MI9, who's the digital arm of Nine Entertainment in Sydney. And we work at looking at different ways to expand clients' horizons when it comes to digital integration with television and with online and with mobile and with a lot of other different things that they can be involved in. Because that's the way television is now. It's not just the box in the corner anymore, it's the screen and the phone and the whole thing. So did that, was working at NBN, and a couple of people found out that I had played an instrument in music and stuff like that, and there was an advertising agency in town that fronted me up to be, if I'd do a jingle for them, and I didn't know anything about the jingles. And I said, sure, absolutely, there's money involved. This is it, yes, and sell out. And so did the jingle, and the singer didn't turn up, and we just coupled it all together and blah, 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 and the agency loved it, and the ad was great, and everything was really good. So I got a call from another one, and sure, I'll do that. And then finally got a call from someone who said, look, heard you've been doing this kind of stuff, would like to use you and work with you, but we don't work in Newcastle. We just don't think that the talent's here. We only work out of Sydney. So quite happy if you're prepared to go down and work in studios in Sydney, but that's the deal. So sure, sell out. Just someone ding something when that gets tired. Yeah, there you go. Well, if the story keeps going, you'll be pissed. So I started working in Sydney, and then a couple of studios I was working at in Sydney kind of said, hey, look, we've got some clients here that could really kind of use the talents you've got. Started doing more and more with there, and finally came in contact with someone from EMI Records, now Sony. Did some stuff for them, signed to them, so I'm a signed writer with Sony Records now, because there is no EMI anymore. And started to produce music for a lot of different overseas productions, more commercial. I've had a couple of goes at recording artists. One that I did lots with, I won't even say it. But mainly commercial. That's what I do. And so produce a lot of commercial music, and now have a lot of different agents and production companies all over the world that I work for. So in Australia, I write everything from stuff for Woolworths, stuff for McDonald's, stuff for a lot of those guys.
Sip, sip, sip.
Sip, sip, sip. Oh yeah. Just go and get a massive carafe, because I do stuff for BBC, National Geographic, a lot of stuff for all those kind of guys. And then that led me into doing film trailers. So came back to my background, my classical background, and a lot of the orchestration that I'd learned. So when you go to the movies and you see these giant coming soons, these days the movies are still in production, like they are still being made before the publicity starts miles. I mean, Interstellar's been going for like 12 months before it actually got done. So they have people who write that music for those trailers, and I'm one of those people.
So I'm really interested, because you've used the word sellout and you consider that part of what you do to be a sellout. Why do you consider it to be a sellout?
No, I don't. I'm only joking.
Oh, good. So, but that's it, because I've always known you to really love writing.
Yeah. And I think Chrissy and I played in a band together.
Yesterday.
Yes, and I think I've always, and I think you probably could back me up, but I think I've always taken music very, very, very seriously as a business type of thing. So even at gigs, it was very much in the band room, get ready for the next set. Always drank Coke most of the time. Make sure that what was promised was delivered. And it's funny because I do work with some fabulous musicians all over the world. And there's a friend of mine who always goes, have you ever, the unicorn, have you ever, I never play music for myself as an enjoyment, but it's what I do as a job, because I really love what I do. There's when you create something that an orchestra plays, and it sounds fantastic, and then you see it up on the screen with something that is pretty impressive. It's a buzz, and I get paid, and it's good. Yeah, it's good fun.
And it's part of that whole creative industries thing too, where we have the workhorse and the unicorn sort of thing, where we do have our fingers in lots of different pies and sustain ourselves income-wise that way as well. Do you still have Rapid Ear Movement?
Yes.
And so is that your business?
That's my business name, and the trailer music company is a company called Insania Musica, and I'm signed to one company called Audio Machine. There's one company called Jingle Punks. There's one company called Trailer Tracks. All of these are overseas guys, and so I write for all of those guys. Yeah.
And so the whole digital age really has opened that business perspective up for you, which it does for a lot of people in the creative industries, because we can upload things and they can be overseas tomorrow, whether it's a movie trailer or whether it's a design, or whether you're selling bags overseas or selling illustrations, whatever. How do you manage the hours and things like that, the midnights and the...
Yeah, I goes way past midnight. So technology is something that I've always been... I remember as a little kid, because my dad always used to listen to the ABC, and I always used to listen when the records were on. And I remember saying to him one day, I could not figure out how they got one band out and packed away and the next band in to actually play the next piece of music. And it was like, man, that's unbelievable. I'm a simple guy. but technology, and it's something that has stayed with me. My orchestral thing. A lot of music technology has enabled people to do that, whether it's synthesizers and sequencers and stuff like that. But I can do what I always wanted to do and want to make other people do and compose, but it's too expensive and too restrictive and too hard to get that to happen. So technology along the way. I mean, the flavour of the month word, like disruptive, is a massive word at the moment. But in what I do in both television and in music, disruptive has been miles down the track. And quite honestly, unless you're in an industry that either grows something you can eat or you put something out of the ground, prepare to be disrupted, because it's if there's if there's anything that goes through the industry, if there's a better, cheaper, faster, easier, different, connected way of doing something, someone will find it in the near future and make sure it happens. The trick is to constantly be on that wave and see what people are doing and kind of, there's the massive thing in music now that everybody's giving it away for free and Spotify's fucking everything up. And if you're Taylor Swift and you're not getting your $12.5 million for your thing, well, it's a big machine. You got to keep going. But it's this. We're in the age now where everybody can do it, and that's a double-edged sword when you say it, because everybody and anybody now can make an album. So that is just liberating. That is amazing. You can get whatever machine you want, and like even if you're just a soloist with a guitar, you can cut that album, and as long as you can get it up to iTunes and you can have your album ready for sale and figure out how you can promote it and blogs and everything. So the fact that everybody can do it is extremely liberating, but everyone can do it. So your competition is now exponential. So where I used to work in these incredible studios with wonderful people, they're long gone. They were closed down, and I don't know what's in there. Be just office people in cubicles now, because you don't need that. I've got a beautiful studio at home, and I can sit in there, but I can deal with anybody all over the world. And just dial them up and away we go. That sounds drink quick.
So again, if we do that, what's your one tip, the one takeout, the one thing that hit you the best within your creative industries career? What might that be?
It's probably, I think, like our other two speakers, is opportunities seem to come up. For me, opportunities have always come. I've always wanted to do something. Like I've always just, I wish I could go and do that. That'd be fantastic. Imagine being able to work with that guy, or imagine being able to do that. I wonder how I'd do that. That would be, and bing, it happens. And I don't know what that is, but I think it's, if you have a focus and you really need to do something, and especially now, you can track down, stalk anybody on Facebook and have an opportunity. If you've got the will to do something, that's what I've always found, is just I have run into person into run. It's $50 to go out for dinner and bang, you get the next job. Just be open to everything, and there's times when it just beats you to a pulp, and you're sitting there, you started at 9 o'clock and you're sitting there at 5 o'clock still the next morning, just nothing. And there's the deadline, the deadline's at 7, and you just got every excuse written down of like what happened. And then, you got to battle through that. And the arts can be just the most soul-destroying, tough, horrible piece of shit, mother goddamn piece of crap. But the highs are worth it. The seeing your work that you have slaved that hard and that you're immensely proud of. Get ready to drink. There's
we'll fix it in a minute.
I have a fairly big suit of armour because there's a plethora of work out there that I'm not proud of, but that's what I do. And there's lots of different factors. When you're in my world, there's a lot of different influences, and if the client's wife thinks that it should be maybe a male singing it, well, fuck it, away we go.
Don't you love the client's wife? Okay, so just before we have a short break and we let you recharge your glasses before we come back for a little Q&A session, what's the piece of work that you're really proud of, or what's a piece of work that we might all know that you're really proud of?
Actually, you probably don't know it, but I wrote, there was a movie called Frankenweenie. It was a Tim Burton movie about a little boy and his dog. And I got the opportunity to pitch for doing the score for that. And normally I'm big epic guy, because big choirs and the big drums and the because that's what I do, and I kind of get a kick out of that. But this was almost Broadway in the way they wanted it constructed, and that was really, really hard for me to do. It took a long time to figure out how to do it. There was lots of rewrites and wasn't quite right. And it was a great movie, and it played on Foxtel a couple of months ago now. And the ad, and they actually used my music on the ad, and my kids just went, "Oh wow, look at that! That looks fantastic." And they turned around and went, "Did you do the music for that, Dad?" And I went, "Oh, actually, I did." And they went, "That's really good," because they know some other ones that I do, and they skunk along in the car, just going, "Oh God."
The honesty of children, eh?
Yeah, and so when that was a case of a lot of hard work, got paid, really proud of it. Good piece of music, yeah.
Thank you. Can you thank Laurence?